Do you believe that aliens built the pyramids, or was it just simple man? We're here to talk about it again. This is Aliens and Stuff.
Hi, welcome to Aliens and Stuff. I'm Tom, this is Mike, and this is Spence. We're here to talk about the pyramids yet again, as we've had some arguments over this and we've had a lot of comments online. I'm going to try and put forward some more evidence to say that it was aliens, and I think, Mike, you're going to try and put some more evidence forth to say it was man, and Spencer's going to sit there in the middle and come up with some weird and wacky stuff. So
here we go.
I think we get stuck into it.
Well, remember to like and subscribe, and also hit the bell notification.
Very professional, I forget everything.
Thank you very much.
So, it's because I'm so excited about this, that's what it is.
This caused a lot of argument, didn't it, online? We had so many comments from everybody about this, and there was a lot of, I guess, a bit of a charged subject, weirdly, pyramids. You think that they're just pyramids, aren't
Well, it was a charged subject in the studio, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And also, I think,
it annoyed me, you annoyed me.
Oh, well, always. And everybody always tunes into ancient aliens and this, that, and the other and gets all their opinions from that. And let's say it's very biased, isn't it?
Well, you certainly do.
No, actually, I haven't this time. I'll come up with some key facts.
Okay,
and,
go.
Well, no, I want you to go because I believe it was aliens to tell me otherwise.
Okay, so I'm going to... Okay, if you want me to start, I'll start.
Go for it.
Fine. So I've done a lot of research into this, and as I mentioned in the last episode about the pyramids, I have been to see pyramids, as has Spencer. You've been to see the Luxor in Las Vegas.
It's a pyramid, let's be honest. Okay.
So let's talk about pyramids and talk about humans. The argument I made in the last show was that actually I think that we just underestimate ancient civilizations' proficiency at using tools of the time, and that actually they were just better than we are now at using hand tools, and that's why they built the pyramids.
Stone mallets and copper balls.
Exactly. Okay. Now, there's a lot of different theories online about how they built them by hand. I've focused on one that I think is the most logical.
Hit me.
When you build a building, it needs to be level, correct?
Ideally, yes.
And this in the modern age. And how in the modern age do we work out how level a building is?
Spirit level?
Yeah, spirit level.
Spirit level. And what's in a spirit level?
Ghosts.
No, what's in a spirit level?
What's a bubble.
Okay. So, the theory that I buy into massively is to how pyramids around the world were built is built using water. Okay, now I'll explain. When you look and start at the base of a pyramid, and if you look at pyramids all around the world, talking about the pyramids of Giza, you talk about pyramids in places where Spencer have been, they are near lakes, they are near rivers, they are near springs. They are always, if you look at a pyramid, they are always near a spring.
Well, they have to be stuck together with some sort of mortar, don't they?
They are always near a water source. Okay? The reason for that, okay, may have religious reasons in different areas of the world, but they also believe that they use that water to actually build the pyramids. Now, one of the main things that people talk about online is how did they get these massive blocks from A to B? Now, I'm going to focus on the pyramids of Giza particularly, on about how they built this. The Nile actually had a different trajectory at that point of time. It actually ran really close to the pyramids. It's moved since. It's like a mile away. But now, back then, it was running very, very close to the pyramids.
Fair enough.
What they used to do, they used to quarry the stone from around the area of the pyramids. They know this. This is fact, Tom. They have found the quarries. A lot of them have been filled in now, but they know that it has been mined because of the way in which they've chipped away.
Well, there's no disputing it was mined.
It's
I mean, the rock had to come from somewhere.
Exactly.
You know.
But it's from around the pyramids. So they didn't have to move them very far.
No.
Especially considering the fact that there was water there. You can float anything on water.
15-ton block?
If you right, 100,000 ton tanker, Tom.
It's made of metal, Mike.
A metal floats, does it, Tom? Any better than...
It doesn't shape.
Any better than wood? Any better than stone?
No, but it's the shape and the buoyancy of it.
Okay, correct. Buoyancy. And you've just fallen into the trap of buoyancy.
Where's
I will tell you exactly how they made each individual stone block buoyant. What they used to do, they used to quarry the blocks, they used to shape the blocks, where they mined them, where they got them out of the quarry, they used to shape them. Okay?
How to get them onto the boat.
Exactly. They then used to, once everything had been mined out of that particular quarry from one part of the area where the pyramid was being built, they would then attach a number of buoyancy aids onto the top, And they have found these in ancient Egypt, animal stomachs, cow stomachs. If you attach enough of them to a block, it will float them.
How many sheep stomachs would you have to attach to a 15-ton?
Thousands, Tom. You're right. But it will float. If you attach enough buoyancy to something, it will float every single time. You need to know your science, my friend, because It's correct. You can float anything of any weight as long as it has enough buoyancy. Look at tankers. Okay. Right. So the point is, they would then float them fill the quarry with water. They would float all the stone blocks that were going to a certain area, and then they would use what's called water pressure ducts to move these around. Okay. We will overlay a video over this to show you an example of this. If you've got water down here and you've got water up here, how do you get them between the two areas? You use a duct between the two, you use water pressure, and that will allow anything that floats to travel up a duct from A to B.
Can I throw something out here a second?
Please do.
I'm going to destroy this right now, okay? So...
I haven't finished my point.
No, I'm going to the buoyancy bit. I'm going to pick this apart bit by bit, right? So, sheep's, cow stomachs, etc.
Other things we use as well, like certain types of wood as well that were more buoyant than others.
Okay. But bearing in mind, there was 2.3 million blocks.
Correct.
And not just one sheep stomach or
correct.
cow stomach, right? But you would tell like thousands.
Yeah, correct.
That puts the amount of animals that had to be slaughtered in order to be able to do this in the billions.
Yeah, but what's to say...
I don't think there was that many animals around.
What's to say that they couldn't be reused a number of times? And wood was used as well, other things like that. It is
all seems a bit woolly,
and
if you pardon the pun.
It's also not all coming from one quarry. There was a number of quarries around. There's also 4 sides.
Yeah, but there's only so many animals.
Exactly. But the point is that they were able to float, and there is examples and videos of them doing this online, which I will show you, and it will be overlaid for you guys at home to watch. Okay. Now, what they used to do in the actual pyramid site, they would build a moat around the outside of it. Once that moat was flat and there was no water running away, they knew it was level. Okay, that's the leveler. That is the spirit level. They then used to place the blocks just so that the top of the water was at the surface. So they knew every single block was level around the base. They then used to follow it up. Okay. And what they used to do, because the side of the pyramid was at an angle, obviously triangular all the way around, they used to put these water pressure ducts around all areas of the pyramid with kind of reservoirs at the top as the pyramid goes live, and they would build these ducts higher and higher as they built the pyramid higher with these blocks. And that's how they got the blocks from the bottom of the pyramid, or from the quarry to the pyramid base, and then from the bottom of the pyramid up the pyramid, they would use water ducts, and they would use water pressure through buoyancy to get them up there.
Right.
And this is fact. They found these ducts on the side of pyramids.
So from what I've read, there's been no evidence found of how they got the blocks that high. That's the theory.
No, these water ducts have been excavated.
I want that checked.
They found water ducts.
I will fact check this.
Fact check that. Secondly, right, I want to also fact check how many cows and sheep and goats combined are alive in the world today as it stands.
You're focusing in on the wrong thing.
No, all right, I'm going to throw this to you, right? Okay, so historians say that the pyramids, the Great Pyramids of Giza, were built over a 20-year period.
22 years, yeah.
Okay, 22 years, all right. That means they would have to have moved 2.3 million blocks ranging from 2 to 15 tons, 365 days a year, night and day, no electricity, very hard to see your water line, Michael. Okay, and that means they would have to have quarried and placed a block every 2.5 minutes. Easy. Not only would they have to do that, they have to murder multiple animals, inflated the sheep's stomachs, got all your wood and everything together,
correct.
Right? And there was no wheels to do this, right?
How do you know there was no wheels?
This was all quarried. Right.
How do you know that you didn't need wheels if it's being floated?
Because the wheel wasn't invented yet.
What, in the period of the Egyptians?
The wheel hadn't been invented, right?
I dispute that. I think we should fact check that for sure.
100% the wheel.
You don't need a wheel.
I will fact check that.
You do not need a wheel if you are floating it from one area to another.
But what I'm disputing is the fact that you can float a 15-ton block using a bit of wood and some sheep stomachs because there isn't enough. But where did they get the wood from? Where did they get the wood from?
You can float a 150,000-ton tanker that's made of metal.
Because of its shape and it's buoyant.
Yeah.
Why
can't you get buoyancy to the point which floats a piece of stone?
We're talking, okay, right, so it's raised from 2 to 15 tons. So let's call it an 8-ton block on average,
okay,
right?
Fine.
8 tons.
That's not that heavy,
right?
In the grand scheme of things.
Right, of block. So we're not a hollow block, a solid block. And you're attaching some wood and some sheep stomachs to it to try and get it.
Yeah.
Right.
It floats, so it's just under the surface and it floats along. So it's possible. It's physics.
Spencer, do you believe that is possible?
So the Atlantean sorcerer Thoth, right?
Right, everyone, this is where we get into aliens and weird stuff.
Built them as power stations.
Oh, I read this. This is going to annoy me.
So Pharaoh Khufu, the pharaoh,
yes,
right, his sarcophagus was a 15-ton solid piece of granite.
Cool.
Okay, that was hollowed out using nothing but hammers, right, stone hammers and copper balls.
Yeah.
All right, allegedly. Okay. However, the tomb that it's placed in, so his sarcophagus can't fit in that tomb because the tomb is too small to get it in, which means the tomb in the pyramid was built around his sarcophagus. There are also drill marks, as in hollow down, looks like it's been drilled into the granite, right? How did that happen, Mike? Was that wood and sheep stomachs and all?
Well, they built it around it.
No. I'm talking about the drill marks.
Well,
but you also stated that you start from the outside and work your way in.
Yeah,
did you not?
Yeah, it's correct. You start from the bottom and work up.
So what? They just
I didn't say
put it somewhere and go, right, we're gonna build from the outside of this. Yeah. If they built from around the inside of that.
No, that's exactly what they did. They started at the bottom and worked up. I didn't say they started on the outside and worked in. I said they would start from the bottom and worked up. They built around it.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, exactly. This is my point, Tom. Your argument, I don't know what you're trying to argue, quite frankly.
I'm trying to argue that what you're saying is that 15 tons worth of stone cannot be quarried, placed, and floated with sheep stomachs and wood within 2.5 minutes.
Well, we'll prove it, Tom. Because
prove your theory. I'm just putting to you and saying, how do you do it? And you're just saying, because they did.
We've just shown it on the episode over the top that it's possible. There's videos online on YouTube that you can see.
But what we're going to have to do is look at the amount of animals and even wood available. I can't believe there was that amount of wood available in ancient Egypt.
I can't believe that there was trees available like in around
to do 2.5 million blocks.
You're not saying that maybe they could reuse it a few times?
If it got wet, how many times could you reuse it before eventually the wood would fail?
So what do you think? You think aliens built them, did you?
I think it's the end plausible explanation.
But okay, let's talk about why. Why would the aliens build them?
It's a very good point.
And Spencer was coming on to that, I know. But let's talk about why the Egyptians would build them first, and then we'll go into that. I think the Egyptians built them because they were tombs. Quite obvious. The generic theory that everyone goes with. What historians state. Or actually, when you look at the evidence, which literally there's quite a lot of museums around, which are Egypt museums all over the world, which has quite a lot of artifacts which depict essentially that they built them as tombs. So that is the most strong theory.
But they also believe they were built by slaves for a long period of time, and they've only just found out that was all a lie.
No, they've known that for years. But the fact of the matter is, you would build a pyramid-type structure for two reasons. One, because it's pointy and it faces the sky. Secondly, because it's an easier way to build a building without any scaffolding, and you can float stuff up it, which supports my theory.
I still can't get how you could have that amount of water pressure to get that high from the Nile in order to be able to place a 10, 15-ton block.
It's possible through physics, mate. That's why they float 150,000-ton metal tankers. Because they've got enough buoyancy to them to be able to. You can lift anything. It's not. If something has got enough buoyancy, you can lift anything with it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is your argument for buoyancy is wrong.
It's not wrong. How is it? Prove to me why.
How is this wood and sheep stomach going to float a 15-ton block down the river and then up the side of the pyramid?
Okay, you think about a balloon, which is essentially what a sheep stomach or cow stomach or bloody elephant stomach, I don't know, whatever they used at the time. There was quite a lot of evidence to suggest different bits of it because they were actually using them to drink with at the time, which again was found in tombs, which is actual evidence. But if you think about it, Tom, you can get enough material together that is buoyant, you can lift anything of any weight in water. It is physics.
But what I'm saying is that they, from what I can see and what I've researched, there isn't enough materials to. Okay,
how do you know?
Purely because the amount of animals that would. I mean, you would have found mass graves of animals, would you have not? Like ridiculous mass graves of animals. There would have been boneyards of cows and sheep and goats, and there isn't.
What do they?
Why? Because they didn't do it. How do I know? Because bones would remain in the ground. They dig them up.
They find them in the ground all the time. People need to eat.
Yeah, but we're talking a mass grave.
You're talking killing two birds with one stone here. You've got thousands and thousands of very skilled people who are working on building these pyramids, who is a massive honour for them.
I'm not saying they're not skilled.
Properly. They need to feed them all. What are they going to do?
I'm saying it was done with technology that we can't explain. Whether that be alien or not. It could be that the Atlanteans came and built the pyramids after Atlantis fell.
Yeah, exactly, 100%, right? So, here we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about, Tom. Oh,
it's CGI, isn't it?
It's CGI, yeah. There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Look, it's been floated into place. Oh, there's a block in space, yeah. So that's what we're going to show everybody on the episode. I think, honestly, your argument is invalid because physics.
It's not invalid because where are you going to get all the wood from and all the sheep stomachs?
Okay, let's talk about why then.
How did they do it in 2.5 minutes?
I feel so sorry for Spencer. We're carrying on arguing. He said nothing. There is a theory, right, that I read the other day, and it was on TikTok, okay, and
For the love of God.
And I don't believe it. No, I don't believe it. This is the point. But someone said that the reason why there was so much granite in the pyramids, they're made of limestone.
Quartz.
Yeah, and quartz, is because it was a power station.
It was to power the Manas built by Thoth. So surely, if they're building a power station, okay. But here's my other. But you still haven't explained the drill holes.
They used to drill. There's ways to drill without power, Tom. Have you not seen the traditional drills that were even used in Victorian times?
We're not talking Victorian times. We're talking like 5,000 years before that.
You could drill. There is videos of a guy. I mean, I will show it on here. There's videos of a guy that will drive stakes into limestone that makes a hole that looks like it's been drilled, but he will do a number of those and it will split the rock absolutely perfectly down the middle. I get what you're saying, but at the time it was using stone hammers and copper balls. I know, and you're assuming that they have the same proficiency as using those tools as we did. Okay, so here's my view. There's nothing that backs your theory up.
There's nothing to okay.
There is something to back up my theory. It's called physics. We learn it at school.
All I'm saying is, given the fact that how long but it still doesn't explain, even if that was possible, you cannot get that amount of sheep stomachs and cow stomachs, that amount of wood, because you would have a mass grave full of dead animals. They'd be like, cause otherwise they'd be like, oh look, here's the grave to prove that this is how they did it. That's why it's so up for debate.
That's why I said it wasn't just animals.
All they're saying is,
wood as well.
There's a way of, what you're saying, right, so I'm not disputing what you're saying isn't true in regards to, yes, you could float, and that's probably how they did build the pyramids, right?
Did, yeah.
However, what I'm saying is the materials were not plentiful enough in order to be able to do it in the time frame that was stated.
Are you then saying that Egypt happened to have the same landscape and climate that it does now? So you're assuming that there isn't any trees or enough trees to do it, there isn't enough sheep, there isn't enough cows?
I'm definitely saying there isn't enough sheep and enough cows.
This is allegedly 4,000 years ago. You don't know that the climate was the same. You don't know there was enough animals at the time. You don't know whether there was a type of animals. They might have had other animals such as, I don't know, camels. Well, they do have camels. We know that. I've ridden on one in Egypt, so I know that for a fact. They have other animals like, I don't know, elephants, mammoths with massive stomachs, which can... Your argument's invalid because you're saying that they didn't have...
Mammoths in Egypt?
Well, maybe just before that.
Fact check that.
Fact check that. There might not have been mammoths, but you know my point. There was some big animals with big stomachs at the time. We know for a fact that they used and utilised animal stomachs to hold liquid in there, to hold air in there, all these kinds of things. Well, there is a lot of theories out there and there's a lot of actual evidence, which your theory has none of, which shows that they did use these objects to actually build things. I kind of ruined you there, I'm afraid.
I don't think you have. I'm going to throw this down there, right? Okay.
Who agrees with me in the comments? But are you Team Tom or Team Mike? We need to hear Team Spencer because he said nothing.
I feel a bit superfluous here, to be honest. This is great entertainment for me.
Well,
I've got nothing to add.
Right, look, the other bit I would say is
don't
when
have
the
to add
pyramids,
anything. I'm
when,
certainly
when
giving
the
you the
pyramids were
opportunity.
built, right? The Great Pyramids of Giza, right? Bearing in mind, like I mentioned with my Tom's hot fact last time, right?
Yeah.
Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone than she did the pyramids, right? There
correct.
was nothing, no other structures that we are aware of that we have ever found that even come close to the engineering prowess that it took to build the pyramids. The pyramids were almost like an idea that came out of absolute nowhere.
So you're
right?
admitting then that they're engineering prowess, but you're not
100%.
saying
No,
that the
my
people at the time
argument
built
isn't
them.
how they were built. I'm only throwing aliens out there because we're an aliens and stuff show. Now, whether it was another, maybe it could be that the Egyptians were actually part of an older civilization that was actually far more technically advanced than we actually were aware of.
I believe that's
so
the
therefore they built them using maybe tools, because there is, if I remember correctly, there's they might have had like electrical lights, like a big old electrical light bulb thing that they did with what would they call it, a Baghdad battery?
Yeah,
I think.
so that is in hieroglyphic.
Yes,
well,
that's
not
in
in hieroglyphics, but
right?
it's in a stone carving,
Yes.
which we can feature.
Yeah. Right? So if that's true, maybe they were more advanced and then there was a lost technology situation between when they were built to now. So that would explain it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, from what historians say that was around at the time, right, given the tools and just copper balls that they had in order to be able to do this, to excavate this, to ship the rock with, wood and sheep stomachs,
Didn't have
I
to
don't
ship
think
the
it was possible. If you turn around and say, actually, there was evidence to say that they were more technically advanced because the civilization is far older than what we thought it was, then I would look at that over the alien theory for sure.
But why would aliens build the pyramids? What's the point?
Well,
That's what I don't
know.
understand about the argument.
Why build a pyramid just to put your dead body in?
Because it's a tomb and they have religious beliefs.
Why?
Because they do have religious beliefs.
Maybe the aliens have religious beliefs and that's why they wanted them to build the pyramids.
But why have they
Maybe
not
they
built
were a
any
power
since?
station.
I
for
think
the
what we're
UFO.
forgetting is around that time period, they also have the Staff of Moses, which could part seas. So just throw 'em
100%,
out there,
see?
or Aaron's rod.
Yeah, you see, you
Which
don't
is
think that was
Moses'
possible.
brothers.
Moses parted the sea.
Maybe
but
it was
you
a
don't believe in
rod.
sheep stomachs.
May-
I mean, it's outrageous. Your argument is outrageous.
No, I just think-
mine is backed up by science,
No.
physics, examples, and evidence.
Okay, well then how do they do a block every 2.5 minutes if you go by the historians?
If you get enough people there in one place, you build enough quarries, you've got enough ducts, you can do anything in 2.5 minutes.
But going on the history of the amount of people around at that time and in Egypt, that's not possible.
It is possible.
It's
They
not.
have thousands of people
Historians
working
still
on it.
don't understand fully how they built the pyramid in the timescale.
There's a lot of theories about.
We're going in circles.
There is other theories, okay, and I'm going to cover them now quickly because I picked out one theory which I believe to be the most accurate based on evidence that I've found and the research that I've done. There is theories as well about when they built the pyramids, they obviously put slopes and things around it, which they were able to drag the stones up. Okay, that is another theory. Again, they
So
found
your
no-
theory
they
isn't
have
the
found-
only theory. There is another theory, but you believe that your theory is backed up by evidence. But there's also another theory backed by historians of who's right.
No, the other theory isn't backed up by evidence because they've not been able to find any evidence of these kind of slopes that go around the outside. Or there's even, they reckon the Pyramid of Giza as well, to get a slope to run from the ground level to the very top of it, to be an angle which allowed someone to be able to pull a block of that weight up it, it would need to be over 1/4 of a mile long. And they don't believe that that was the case either because there would still be evidence of that in the ground for excavation, and they've not found any of that. But they have found water ducts which use water pressure to take things up. They have actually excavated that. So that happened. That's fact. Let us know in the comments what you think. We want everyone to hear from you. Do you think that my version is nonsense? Could be, but I don't think it is. As for the reasons that I've said, do you think Tom's alien theory is nonsense? Let us know.
Well, I would say it's alien or lost technology.
Okay.
So
Remember
I'm happy to concede it's not aliens. I'm happy to concede that they were more advanced than what we believe.
Okay, I agree with you on that. So there we go.
So that's
go.
what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at, I'm doing the alien thing to cheese you off. My point is that I can't see, given the technology we knew for sure that they had, how they could do it that quickly in 20 years.
Well, I explained
That's what
it.
I'm going to draw it as. No, you didn't.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Let us know in the comments and remember to
Like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon. I'm out.